Hey guys, it's me Nina and I'm back with another video for this week, and as you can see, it's not on our regularly scheduled day. Normally I'll put a video up on Monday, and Monday's video's up. It's a sermon that I gave at a conference, but we're here again, and the reason why is because I really felt a need to respond to recent news about Josh Harris. I made a video back when he basically took his book, I Kissed Dating Goodbye, out of print and apologized for that narrative, and I just made a response to that because a lot of people were confused and upset that this book they really loved was taken out of print, and other people were happy about it. And I'm like legit gonna go out to the city right after I filmed this, but I just felt like it was so relevant and something that I need to talk about. And a lot of people actually messaged me about it. Two of my friends, one person who's actually subscribed on here and who have kind of become friends with, acquaintances with, I don't know how you define relationships, but like through YouTube. And so it just made me realize like something I should talk about, because I did comment on his original video. And basically what happened is two big things. You can see this first picture here, but he got divorced from his wife, and it looks like it was amicable, like a good, like they're both on good terms. And he also came out as somebody who is no longer a Christian. He also apologized for some statements he's made about the LGBTQ people in the past, and that sends a lot of shockwaves to a lot of people. I made a video about the Gungor family, and apparently they're still Christian and they have their own strain of it, and that video really resonated with a lot of people because doubt is real. And I was talking to one of my friends who messaged me about this, and I was just telling her how I really admire Josh Harris. And the reason I say that is because if you're struggling with doubt, and it looks like he took some time after he took his book out of print and he really thought about it and went through everything. If you're struggling with doubt, it is much easier to be a lukewarm Christian. It is so much easier to just pretend to go with emotions. And I think there are a lot of people who label themselves Christians without really being a Christian or not even fully committing to it. And yes, I do think it is easier to go from that place rather than a place of clearly being an atheist or an agnostic or whatever. Even if you look at biblical scripture, God says that lukewarm people are the ones that he wants to spit out of their mouth. But there's almost like a little bit of respect for people who are either hot or cold, people who are either on fire for God or not. And it even makes me realize for myself, I've been on vacation, I've been relaxing, and for the past couple of days I haven't kept up like I normally would with some time with God. And it's just so easy to be disconnected from your faith, and it's so easy for that to keep going and keep going. And this almost made me stop and check myself, because building your faith, spending time with God, knowing what you believe in, even when other people change their beliefs, is really important. If you have a weak belief in God, or if your belief in God was rested on whether or not other people believe in it, then hearing news like this can be devastating, because Josh Harris is somebody with a lot of influence. He's someone with a lot of power in the Christian community. His book had an impact on so many different people's lives, and it's easy for some people to look at his decision as maybe even a way for them to rethink their own walk with God. But the message I have for anyone who has heard this and they're struggling with how to process it, they're a Christian or they're not a Christian, is, first of all, I'm really glad that he apologized to the LGBTQ community. I think it's ridiculous that a lot of times people think that being Christian is synonymous with being homophobic. If anything, being Christian means that you should not be homophobic. I highly recommend the book Single Gay Christian by Greg Coles if you've never read it. I think that a lot of times in the Christian community, the ways in which we approach people who are gay is extremely hurtful. And I remember teaching the Library Project to a lot of my students, my high school students, and there was just an assumption that if you were a Christian that you would be homophobic. And I don't think that's the case, and I do think that there should be love and acceptance for those people And of course, like there's like so much more to that and like so much more to delve into that I'm personally like I don't want to delve into in this video. But I do appreciate him apologizing for that, and I am hoping that people are starting to realize you don't need to be homophobic and Christian. You can be loving and accepting and whatever else. And there's so many different strains of Christianity and different views on that and whatnot, but I will not get into that. Next, I'm just like kind of processing it. Next, I think we need safe places for people to express if they have doubts. I think if you're a Christian and you say you have doubts, it's like one of those scary things. And I've had friends tell me in the past, you know, I believe in God, but I'm struggling with doubts and whatever else. And we need a safe place for people within the church to process those doubts. Because even with things like this, it kind of reminds me of how like when 13 Reasons Why came out, a lot of people all of a sudden like struggle more with like suicide and things like that because it just brings awareness. I think this can kind of do the same thing, but more than anything, it just brings to the surface the fact that people do struggle with doubts and they need a place to question and they need a place to just talk and express and work through those doubts. And as someone who has struggled with doubt before, I think that we should be so understanding and so accepting of Josh Harris, because faith can a lot of times be like a journey. And someone was telling me once that like our self-development is kind of like a circle. So rather than being this straight line, it's like we're kind of looping around, and you may feel like you're really far because you're here in the circle, but really the center is here. So you're much closer than you were before. I don't know if I'm like visually sharing that correctly, but rather than being like here to here, how you feel, it's really like a circle. So he might actually be on that circle and appear to be really far, but he might be really closer than someone who's like lukewarm and seems closer but not actually is. But I don't know if this video just ended up being a bunch of rambling and whatever else, but I wanted to create something because when someone does publicly come out as no longer being a Christian, as when they were prior somebody who was a figure in the community, it can be hard for a lot of Christians to process. And I think we all need a safe place to just process that, go through that, walk through that, because it is perfectly normal to have doubts, and we need to be open to talking about it and being accepting of it and whatever else that's kind of like in that realm. But yeah, that's it. I respect you, Josh Harris, if you haven't watched this video. He actually watched my last video, which is really cool, but I'm not tweeting this one out to him because I don't know, if he watches it, that's like super cool. I won't tweet it out to him, but he seems like a really great guy. And like as a Christian, like of course, like I am concerned about his salvation, but I've learned over the years you can't force your faith on anyone. It is their journey. All you can do is make an invitation, and I doubt he came to this decision really lightly. So all we can really do is accept his decision and work on ourselves and being our own walk with God, and maybe one day he'll come back. That's it. I'll see you next week.